If you bought a home in the last couple of years, put a little down, and now you're realizing you need to sell before you build up much equity, you might be doing some scary math right now. You may owe close to what the home is worth or even a bit more. And if you're wondering if you're stuck, we want to talk to you directly because you're not stuck and you may have more options than you think. Let's be clear about who we're talking to because this isn't most Portland homeowners. If you've owned your home for more than a few years, you almost certainly have real equity and none of this applies to you. But there's a specific group we've been hearing more from lately. Folks who bought recently in the last 2 or 3 years with a low down payment and then life changed faster than the market did. A job relocation, a divorce, a new baby, a family situation. Something that means you have to sell now before you've had time to gain value and before you've paid down the loan much. When that happens, you can end up owing about what the house is worth, sometimes more once you factor in the cost of selling. And that's an unsettling place to be, but it's a solvable one. And the worst thing you can do is freeze and ignore it. So the first thing to do is actually run the real numbers, not the scary ones in your head. Get a true sense of what your home would sell for today. Line that up against what you still owe plus the cost of selling. Sometimes people assume they're underwater when they're actually just close. And a home that's priced and prepared right can clear the loan and the costs with a little room to spare. Other times the gap is real. Either way, you need actual figures before you can make a good decision. And that's a free conversation to have. Knowing exactly where you stand takes a lot of the fear out of this because a real number is almost always less frightening than the unknown. If it turns out you can cover the gap or you're close enough to bring a little to closing, a normal sell is usually the cleanest path. And we could talk through how to prepare the home to make you net the most. But if the gap is real and you generally can't cover it, that's where a short sell comes in. And it's worth understanding what that actually is. A short sell simply means your lender agrees to accept less than what you owe so the home can sell. You're not the first person to do this. Lenders have a whole department for it. In the right situation, you're not the first person to do this. Lenders have whole departments for it. And in the right situation, they'd rather approve a short sell than take a home back. It's not a magic eraser and it isn't free of consequences, but it is a legitimate, structured way out that keeps you in the driver's seat instead of letting things spiral. Now, if we're going to be straight with you about the trade-offs because you deserve the honest version, a short sell does affect your credit, though typically less than a foreclosure would. And there can be tax implications because forgiven debt is sometimes treated as income, and the rules on that have changed over the years at both the federal and state level. Here's the important part. We're realtors, not tax advisors or attorneys. And this is exactly the kind of thing where you want real professional guidance for your specific situation. So the honest answer is that a short sale has real consequences. They're usually more manageable than a foreclosure. And before you commit to anything, you should sit down with a tax professional and a real estate attorney. We can help you get those conversations started with people we trust. The one thing we really want you to take from this is the earlier you deal with it, the more options you have. Everything gets easier when you're ahead of it and harder when you wait. If you reach out while you're just starting to worry, you might have a normal sell or a well-run short sell or an option we haven't even mentioned yet, like renting it out for a while to bridge the gap. If you wait until you miss payments and the pressure is really on, those good options start closing one by one. Time is genuinely the most valuable thing you have here, and it's one thing that quietly disappears while you're avoiding the problem. Please don't wait until a crisis to ask for help. So if any of this sounds like your situation, here's what we tell you. Take a breath and let's just talk. No judgment, no pressure to list anything. We'll run the real numbers, tell you honestly where you stand, and walk you through every option that fits, from a normal sell to a short sell to something else entirely. And if it turns out you're in better shape than you feared, that's a great conversation too. You don't have to figure this one out alone, and reaching out early costs you nothing but a little time. And if it turns out you're in better shape than you feared, that's a great conversation too. You don't have to figure this out alone, and reaching out early costs you nothing but a little time.